Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat, our WWE show for the week. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Sho Funaki.
Indeed. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
And the first thing we're going to talk about is the beginning of the show. Started off with John Cena, first Monday Night Raw of the year, in the ring.
First dickhead of the year.
Cutting some of the stupidest promos one of the stupidest promos I ever seen.
You know, this is coming off of when you were really impressed by the promo he cut from last week. Like I said, he's not consistent.
And this one was terrible. It was corny. His jokes were not funny. He was just...
He's corny as shit, dude. He's cornier than baby shit. Even Biggie Langston's interview looked better. You know, his 2 seconds of whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, which he brought out Ziggler and their crew, Ziggler, AJ, and Biggie. And Biggie basically said that Ziggler's going to fight Cena tonight, which led us right into the match.
And honestly, I think the outcome should have been different. Of course, you know who's going to go over, John Cena.
Well, I don't mind Cena going over. The thing of it is he went Super Cena.
Exactly.
And he hit him with the sleeper. Hit him with the
zigzag.
The zigzag. Hit him with the super kick. Biggie Langston hit the whatever the hell they're calling his move.
He went through 4 finishers just to win the match. You know, it'd be different if it was a match for a title, but you're building a guy up.
A pay-per-view match.
Exactly, but you're building a guy up. You should let the guy beat you. You know, then because you know you're going to squash him at a pay-per-view because you're freaking John Cena and you're always going to win. Yeah. You know, I mean, like I said, I'm not high on John Cena. I don't really care for him as a person or a wrestler.
As a person either.
No, I just don't. As much shit as I hear bad about him, there's nothing. You know, if I ran into him, I wouldn't be like some mark and go up to him and, ooh, you're John Cena. Sorry.
Well, you are a mark.
Not for him.
You're just a mark in general.
No, whatever.
And not even Mark Henry.
Ms. Ark.
Anyway, after that disappointing match, we were followed up with a second in a row disappointing match. Eve defending her title against Kate.
You know, this is the number one show in the business, Raw. I mean, honestly, you know, there's other wrestling shows, but this is the number one show, and it just seems like their women's division, because I'm going to call it the women's division because every different company calls it something different, It is the worst anymore. TNA's knockouts are 10 times better, I think.
They had some good... There were a couple good... Last week they had a good match, and the couple weeks ago at the Christmas show there was a good tag team match. This one was terrible, especially the finish when Eve... leaving and getting the count out. I'd rather have cheated
to get the win. Exactly. So, something a little different than that. I mean, no one that's 1994. I'm sorry. That's the old. You know, I guess since we're going to the 20th anniversary of Raw, we're doing 20-year-old endings.
Exactly.
I just wasn't impressed.
Not at all. Well, speaking of old school, but in a good way, we had a good old school tag team match. Hell No versus the Rhodes Scholars. Everybody in this match I'm a fan of. I really like every wrestler that's in this. And every time these 4 guys get together, it does not disappoint.
Well, Damien Sandow is one of my favorite guys as of late. And you know the one thing I like about him, he's old school. Like with this gimmick he has now, he actually went up to
That's why we did the lead in. Where you said it was old school, I said this is old school.
Well,
it's called a segue. Jim.
All right. Well, how about you shut the fuck up while I'm talking? Shut the fuck up, folks. Anyways,
this is only our 51st episode. You can learn some inside terminology.
I don't want to pay attention to what you say. Anyways, the thing is, I like about him is he has respect enough to go to Lenny Poffo and ask Lenny if he can use this gimmick. Before also rudely interrupted by Mick Foley's illegitimate son. Yeah. But the match was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
I liked it too. I liked how they worked. I liked the potential Daniel Bryan knee injury, how they worked that into the match. I like the Rhodes Scholars going over on it. Team Hell No. You know, they're a good team. It builds into what we've seen in the backstage is they're going to have another visit with Dr. Shelby next week, which should be classic.
But he's a monster.
He's a nerd.
He's a monster.
We already wasted time.
Anyways, whatever. Shut up, bitch. Anyways, the match was awesome. I enjoyed the match.
Yeah, up until this point, this was the only shining light of the show so far. The next match was again a little bit of a downer. Randy Orton versus Heath Slater. It was set up by a backstage segment. Basically, he ran into the 3MB and said, any of you guys come out to the ring and I'll wrestle you. Basically, he ends up winning, hits a RKO on all three of them, making a whole group look weak against another, almost like a Super Cena type move with Orton.
And they don't need that because they don't even know if they're going to keep him face or heel. I don't, you're burying three guys that are up and comers, Yeah. Anyways, the next match wasn't too bad.
Well,
I liked what brought it in.
The Barrett backstage with Ricky Steamboat and Santino. That was decent. I liked Ricky coming out to the ring. It was a good, decent match. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought that it would come out and be a Barrett squash match.
Santino had some good moves in on it. At one point he hit a savate kick on Barrett, and Santino's a lot shorter than him, so it was very impressive, and it wasn't a shitty looking kick. I mean, he really nailed it.
Well, when Santino was in OVW, he had a gimmick a lot like Kozlov had, Vladimir Kozlov, where he was a Russian Sambo wrestler. And that's where a lot of that, you see that every once in a while come out of him, and that's where that part of his gimmick comes from.
Didn't stop Jimmy Cornette from slapping the shit out of him, no did it.
But anyway.
Now, can I interrupt, or can I introduce the next match? Because my boy's in it.
Khali?
Exactly. Antonio Cesaro, the man, versus the Great Khali. Now, this is the second time these two met each other.
Yeah, they had a match on Main Event, and when I told you, I think I was talking to you when I said it, it seemed to me that the match on Main Event was kind of a warm-up to see if Cesaro could hit his power moves on someone on Khali's size before putting it on one of the two main shows, Raw or SmackDown. And they put it on Raw, and Cesaro just went out there and showed you just how strong he is. I mean, this Khali's what, 440?
He's 444, 4 and heavy change.
And
I know him and Show
7'5" or 7'6".
7'2". I wouldn't say he's that tall. Him and Show weigh about the same. It's just he's a little bit longer. Yeah. The way his body weight is. Show's more heavy in the middle, where he's just evenly distributed.
Portioned.
Yeah.
He has a giant chin.
Exactly. Huge. There's probably 100 pounds in that chin. He slaughtered his son when Slaughter was overseas.
in my opinion, this match to me was a showcase for Antonio Cesaro and what he can do. And the thing of it is, at this point, the only two people that I want to see him hit the neutralizer on now that are going to prove he can do it to anybody is Mark Henry and the Big Show.
And I honestly think he can do it. I mean,
we
got to wait
till weight distribution.
Exactly, and it's just a wait and see moment. But I mean, right now he is pound for pound and the strongest guy there is in this business. And I'm not saying just in WWE. I'm saying in the business today. I don't see anybody that weighs as much as he does as strong as him.
I gotta tend to agree. I really like him. As I've said before, I've liked him for a long while now, ever since he was Claudio Castagnoli in Ring of Honor and CZW and some of the other indies. But
what if he hit the UFO on Khali?
That would be impressive. But he's amazing. Sidebar note, if you have WWE 13, the new downloadable pack came out today that has him in it.
Oh, really? So I have to go ahead and buy that pack.
It has Cesaro, has Cesaro, Damian Sandow, Chainsaw Charlie, Brian Pillman, and Layla, I believe. And plus it gives you some new moves, like Brock Lesnar's Kimura is now a move that you can use to edit. But anyway, we're getting off the subject a little bit. Impressive match, and matter of fact, Paul, our friend from the Deadly Sins, hit us on Twitter while we were watching the show, and he said, okay, I haven't been impressed with Cesaro, but now I am, after he's seen what he did to Khali.
I mean, you just look at some of the stuff the guy does, and he turns naysayers around. I'm sorry. I mean, this guy is the future of the business.
He's one of them.
I'm high on him. That's it.
You're also high on bath salts, but that's okay.
I ain't gonna chew nobody's face off this week. No.
Speaking of chewing faces off, let's go on our question of the week for last week. Our question was, who do you think the MVP of WWE for 2013 will be? Now, we got a couple answers from some of our friends. Again, talking about our friend Paul from over at the Deadly Sins. As much as I hate to say it, because I don't care for him as a talent, is Cesaro. This is obviously before he sent me that message on Twitter. I would say Ziggler, but I think after he cashes in Money in the Bank, the title run will be forgettable. Very good observation there, and I like what he said. The next is from our friend Joshua Adams, 1044. I hope Ziggler has the best year because he had to be a cheerleader saddled with Vicky. Right now, I couldn't say who I would have be the best year outside of Punk, best in the world. There's one constant in the two. That's Dolph Ziggler. Also, Josh Adams gave us a question, which we'll get into in a second. But before we do that, who do you think is going to be the MVP this year?
Ziggler would be the easy one because he's already in the main event spot. I'm going Cesaro. I honestly am. Every time he comes to the ring, he impresses me. He's never been lazy in a ring. His work ethic is unbeatable, and he could drag a good match out of anybody. And the new thing, I guess, is going to be him versus Miz, probably by Royal Rumble. And I just hope that the Miz doesn't go over. I hope they don't end the U.S. run.
There you go.
How about you?
My honest opinion, I think the breakout star is going to be Seth Rollins from the Shield. I think, by the middle of the year, the Shield is going to run its course and they'll go their separate ways. And I think Ambrose is going to be a slow build, kind of like it was with Punk. It took him a little while before he caught on, in the WWE world at least. There's a lot of people that already do like Ambrose. But I think Seth Rollins is really going to break out big, and by the end of the year, be one of the secondary champions, either the Intercontinental or U.S. champion, and have a nice solid run towards the end of the year. Just my opinion. And before we get into our question of the week for next week, Joshua Adams at 1044 asked us a question. He put, here's a question for you guys. Would it be good to have Brock come back and face Ryback at Rumble as a solid rub for Ryback and a warm-up match for Brock? Excellent question. I've been waiting for the Brock Lesnar come up to build the WrestleMania reported match that he's going to have with Triple H. He fits into the gimmick they're doing with CM Punk getting help from the outside, whether it be he's asking for the help or not. He fits into the Paul Heyman stable, he fits in with Paul Heyman. So it would make sense for him to go up against someone like Ryback. I'm guessing by the way you worded it, you would expect Ryback to go over, which I wouldn't mind. A guy like that, a part-timer, and we'll get to another part-timer later, but a part-timer should be their job. They should be putting over the full-time talent. Exactly. What do you think about what he asked? I know you're a big Brock Lesnar fan.
I'm a Brock Lesnar fan, and the thing is, I think if Ryback, there's not enough time for a build for Rumble. Now, it could be a Mania match, but...
Well, the thing is, maybe he's slated to wrestle Triple H.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing it because I would watch the pay-per-view with him against anybody.
We still got 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good match. I think if any big man, power man that can make Ryback look believable, and kind of pass the torch off to him, it would be Brock over Goldberg.
There you go.
And that's who they keep comparing him to.
Exactly. Excellent question, Joshua Adams. Thank you for your input. We appreciate that. Anybody else that wants to ask us any questions, feel free to do so. We'll definitely address them.
All right.
And next thing, our question of the week for next week. Before we talk about the next match, 3MB, the three-man band, they're eventually going to break up just like we talked about with Shield. Who do you see as the star coming out of 3MB? Is it Heath? Is it Jinder? Is it going to be Drew McIntyre? See, so forgettable I even forgot him now. Which one of these three guys is going to be the star that comes out of this? Or if nobody's the star, let us know you think that too. But anyway, hit us up on our Facebook, hit us up on our Twitter, put it down there.
Down there!
See what happens when you give these part-timers their spots? I'm a different kind of animal here.
There it goes. Anyways.
I'm a different kind of animal.
Alright, well speaking...
You just can't come in here and say your catchphrases and expect to get over with me.
Well, you're killing time. Anyways, we're going to get to the next match. It's going to be Jinder Mahal versus the Ginger. Jinder versus Ginger. Sheamus. Actually, it was a pretty decent match. For a Sheamus match, usually he's relied on some seasoned guys to actually help him out. And he's actually, him and Jinder did actually pretty well together, especially with the 3 and B outside.
Here's the thing, I think. Jinder Mahal is a lot better than he's given credit for. I think he hasn't had quite the right push or quite the right connection with the fans yet, but I do think he's a really solid in-ring talent, and I think, we'll talk about next week, because that is our question of the week, about the guys in 3MB specifically. The thing I did not like is basically this is the second time in a night that one of the main stars kills 3MB, kills 3 guys.
Exactly.
And I'm just not a fan of that.
Well, it's like back in the day, the 3 count back in the day, they used to get beat up all the time, but they strived and made something of their career. Maybe this is just another challenge for 3-man band to go through.
So what did Evan Courageous do with his career? I think I gave him my keys when I went to the airport to park my car.
He lives in the airport.
Oh, he was the guy washing the windows.
Bucket full of piss. So now it's time for the title match.
Not just any title match.
WWE title match.
And it's a TLC match.
Ryback versus Punk.
Excellent, excellent match. So far, the best of the Ryback versus Punk series. Even better than the Hell in a Cell, which was a good match. I like the way the Punk worked in this. I like this match a lot better.
I like the way Ryback worked in this too, because he wasn't the unstoppable monster. He actually
felt pain.
Exactly, and that's what makes him. Goldberg to me, I didn't care for Goldberg. He was too one-dimensional. And now, but once he got further in his career and actually showed pain and showed he was a human being, it was a lot better. And I think that this match here really let Ryback shine.
And I like the involvement with the Shield at the end coming out and further their angle with Ryback. It was a nasty, nasty bump where they put him through the table and onto the chairs.
Onto the stairs.
From what or stairs, that's what it was. From what I understand, he had to be helped to the back. Now, whether that's gimmick or not, who knows? But it looked like it was brutal to me. And CM Punk, you could even see when he comes out later, which we'll talk about in a minute, you could see he was still bleeding from the hand and had some really nasty cuts on his face from the bump he took outside of the ring to the table.
Now, you want to talk about nasty? Let's talk about the next match.
The Big Nasty Bastard?
You're a big nasty bastard, Big Show.
It was Big Show versus Kofi Kingston. They absolutely squashed Kofi Kingston with one move.
And if you go back to some of the shows we talked about before, I compared Kofi to Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
The all-time babyface. And now that they've done that, they've really taken anything away from Kofi to make him viable for 2013. You squash him in the first match of the year
with one punch.
With one punch. This guy here that's been going through. He beat the Miz. He's beaten the Intercontinental Champion right now.
It's Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett. He's beaten almost everybody on that mid-card status, and you job him with one punch. Good job. Why couldn't they have just did Barrett versus him and Santino versus the Show and let the Show punk out Santino with one punch?
There you go.
Bad writing.
It was bad. As you know, in previous episodes, I'm a fan of Kofi. I like his work. I was really disappointed. The only thing I could think of is this match was penciled in, and they ran long, and they wanted to give Dwayne his time. Because, Dwayne does kiss a lot of ass.
If there's one thing that you're better than at Hulk Hogan, it's kissing ass, Dwayne.
Anyway, speaking of Dwayne, before Dwayne came out to cut his promo, the reigning, defending World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, came out to cut a promo.
Best in the world.
And
he's a Paul Heyman guy.
He is a Paul Heyman guy. And the thing that I really enjoyed, we've both said this ourselves, we like this better than the quote-unquote pipe bomb promo. This was straight old school heel, pouring it on, destroying the fans promo. Exactly.
This was the best promo I could think of off top, I wouldn't say ever, but
this was like a Ted DiBiase promo.
He put the fans in their spot, and they're still cheering him after the fact.
Exactly. I mean, the guy can't really do anything wrong. He brought up I thought there was some hammer on the head remarks he said, like the remark about an invisible little kid getting more airtime than a workhorse like Tyson Kidd.
True.
Nailed it. I mean, who doesn't look at Tyson Kidd and see a star other than the WWE booking team?
the kid grew up in the dungeon, for God's sake, and you shouldn't have to say any more. I mean, honestly.
He was absolutely right about a monster like Brodus Clay having to shuck and jive, a submission master like Daniel.
Touching their what was it, his kids? Their
disgusting children.
Their disgusting children.
He was absolutely right about Daniel Bryan, a submission master, one of the best wrestlers in the world, one of my favorites, having to be a nonstop, catchphrase artist. Which, don't get me wrong, I love that aspect of Daniel Bryan. But they wouldn't push him until he became that guy. And
that's just a sugar on a cereal right there, my friend.
I mean, the thing of it is, he's always had that in him. They just never believed him until then. But CM Punk was just 100% on his game, and it was even proven more so when The Rock finally did come out. And The Rock went into the promo like he was doing a promo against John Cena. And like CM Punk said, and I mean, I hate to... We sound like we're gushing over it.
It was just that awesome. No, I don't care what you say.
But like CM Punk said in the promo, he's a different animal. You can't come out here and say you're Rudy Poos and you're Cookie Pusses and think that that's going to work against CM Punk. CM Punk is something totally different.
He's more dangerous. He'd come out of anywhere with a move.
And he absolutely... I think 100% he absolutely destroyed one of the best talkers in the history of wrestling at the end of the segment. He went in, he did his part, Rock came out, Rock did his part, Punk did a little part after that, and just eviscerated him, in my opinion.
Oh, there was nothing left.
I mean, the line of the night, and I know Mass Tweeter, he said it comes from a play. I understand he's not an original sayer of it. The line of the night to me was, your arms aren't long enough to box with God.
I don't care where else it came from. It was perfect
for
that spot.
It's been in a Nas song as well. I mean, who cares where he got it from? The fever and the emotion that he put into saying it. And Tweeter, I know you said this yourself, if you're watching this. You said that it was an old school promo. Well, yeah, it was an old school promo, but that's what we're looking for. We want that.
We want that Attitude Era-esque promo. We're tired of this PG garbage. The more outrageous, the more outlandish it gets, the better it is.
I think it was even older than that. I think that was more of a... That, to me, seemed like a Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes promo.
Or an old Harley Race promo.
Exactly. And there was absolutely nothing. The Rock did put CM Punk over in what he was saying. He didn't downplay how good CM Punk is, which I liked. And Punk did lay off and let Rock hit all his spots, so The Rock didn't look like total garbage either, which builds it even better in my opinion.
And in closing on this segment, to me, that this segment was better than any of the year build-up that we had for the Cena Rock match. Would you say?
I definitely agree.
It ended
absolutely perfect too. Rock hit CM Punk with the rock bottom. Works. It works because the last time they seen each other, Rock got clothesline and hit with a go to sleep.
Worked out perfect.
This is how you build a feud. This is how you build a feud with a part-timer.
Exactly.
But anyway, that's basically all I got to say about the show. Is there anything you need to add?
That's it, my friend.